Lots. Oh, what's up? What's up? It's iCkEdMeL. Good afternoon. I wanted to jump in on this story. I had a couple of people reaching out to me. News Nation has been covering it a lot, and it's this woman from California, San Diego, that was supposed to go on this cross country trip for a wedding to Connecticut, but she stopped in Arizona. There's a timeline we're going to go through. There's body cam. There's people that reported her acting suspiciously. Um, I don't know, pretty odd story. And when I was thinking about this woman, I was also thinking about Daniel Robinson, a story that we covered on the channel. I have DM'd his father a few times. He's supposed to come on. I need to do some. I covered that story, but I need to do some research, like renew myself on that story again. But he went out missing out in Arizona too, and it was kind of a weird story, pretty suspicious story. His father's still advocating for him. But so what I want to do is let's go down and welcome everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Early afternoon. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, all that stuff. Let's just go down some of the timeline first, and then I'm gonna play some of the video from News Nation. Then we'll get to the body cam and all that stuff. I mean, the vehicle was found, okay, abandoned, and what was it? I think two tires were flat. Her belongings were taken except the camera. Well, we'll get into it. And the parents have done several interviews. They did one with News Nation. They also did one with Law and Crime, which has more of the body cam. And it says that police in several states are on the lookout for a California woman who went missing during a cross-country road trip. Chelse Grimm's parents, Stephen and Jeanette, joined News Nation. She's spontaneous. She's changed plans a lot. This wasn't the first time she's ever changed a plan for sure. Chelse left home in San Diego on September 24th, headed for a wedding in Connecticut. She was traveling with her pet bearded dragon, which I downloaded the picture here. Let's see. Here it is. Pet bearded dragon. Okay. And 3 days into the trip, she met up with a friend in Phoenix, Arizona, and called her parents to say the drive was taking longer than she thought. Okay, and I have a map that we're going to look at in a second. Chelse said she planned to skip the wedding and head back home to San Diego. That was the last time her parents had heard from her. The magnitude of this adventure of driving across the country was a lot for Chelse. We gave her a bunch of options, Stephen said. Chelse was reportedly spotted at a hotel in Seligman, Arizona, after the phone call with her parents. A witness said she seemed disoriented and was trying to use euros instead of U.S. currency. So, I mean, I don't know. I wonder what that's about. On September 28th, a police officer responding to a report of a woman acting suspiciously found Chelse in her car at a cemetery in Williams, Arizona. Chelse told him she was working on a photography project about missing soldiers and had gotten emotional. She told the officer she planned to camp in her car that night, which also makes me think, it reminds me of that story. Schulte, Kylan Schulte and Crystal, was it Crystal Turner? Those girls that were out camping in a vehicle, and there was a guy that went and shot and killed them. This was around, I think, the Brian Laundrie time. Makes me think about that. On September 30th, a woodcutter saw Chelse camping in her SUV near Ash Fork, Arizona. He said she seemed okay. And then on October 4th, Chelse's parents reported her missing. On October 5th, hunters found Chelse's SUV abandoned in the middle of the dirt road near Ash Fork. Let me show you a picture of that in the thumbnail. That's the vehicle. What does it say? How is the abandoned vehicle still missing? Oh, she's missing. Both tires on the right side of the SUV were flat. Okay, her cell phone, wallet, clothing, and sleeping bag were not in the car. Her cell phone, wallet, clothing, and sleeping bag were not in the car. And her pet bearded dragon was also missing. So at some point, I guess she got out. Both tires on the right side flat. And the thing I'm wondering too is, like, since she took her cell phone, I guess it's dead now. Have they tried? I'm sure they tried tracking it. Cell phone, wallet, clothing, sleeping bag not in the car, and her pet bearded dragon was also missing. Chelsea's mom, Janet, says she thinks the fact that the bearded dragon is also missing is a hopeful sign. So she maybe willingly went. Maybe I don't know. Janet pointed out a tattoo on Chelsea's left arm, a design of a vine with leaves on it. I think the chances of people recognizing Chelse are connecting the dots. If they see somebody with a bearded dragon, they're going to take an extra look at that person because it's unusual to be carrying around a bearded dragon, usually on her shoulder. Let me play some of this because they kind of go through, Hinton here goes through the timeline and some of the mappings.
Several states, they are on the lookout for a California woman who went missing during a cross-country road trip. Her name is Chelse Grimm. She left her home in San Diego on September 24th, headed for a wedding in Connecticut. She was traveling alone with the exception of her pet bearded dragon. Remember that, the pet bearded dragon, because that sort of comes into play with this whole thing. 3 days into the trip, she met up with a friend in Phoenix, Arizona. That same day, she called her parents to say the drive was taking longer than she thought, and she planned to skip the wedding and head back to San Diego. She didn't realize just how long the drive was going to be, her mom told me. That was the last time her parents actually heard from her. But it wasn't the last time Grimm was seen altogether. That night, she was spotted at a hotel in Seligman, Arizona. A witness says she seemed disoriented, that she was actually trying to use euros instead of U.S. currency. On September 28th, a police officer responding to a report of a woman acting suspiciously found Grimm in her car at a cemetery, and that was in Williams, Arizona. She told him that she was working on a photography project about missing soldiers and that she had gotten emotional. She told the officer she planned to camp in her car that night. Now, I want to show you this. Here is some of the conversation. It was recorded on the officer's body cam.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I just was doing a photo shoot of the lost soldiers and got a little emotional, so I was crying before I got back on the road. I was actually thinking of just camping for the night, but I wasn't really sure exactly yet.
Gotcha. Well,
I didn't plan to be here till sunset.
Okay. Just hang out here however long you want. You're good to go.
Awesome.
Okay, so 2 days later, on September 30th, a woodcutter saw Grimm camping in her SUV, and that was near Ash Fork, Arizona. He said she seemed okay. On October 4th, Grimm's parents reported her missing. The next day, October 5th, hunters found Grimm's SUV. It was a...
So they put August 5th here, but they meant to put October. So, let's see here. Sure I got this right. So from San Diego to Phoenix, Arizona to meet up with that friend. Let me put a little mini time on there. 3 days into the trip, September 27th, she met up with a friend in Phoenix, Arizona. She called her parents, and that's the last time they spoke to her, Phoenix, Arizona. And then she went to this hotel in Seligman, Arizona. So like that's a little bit up north here. Somewhere in this little town here, I guess. She went to a hotel. And then that's where they said a witness said she seemed disoriented. And that was after she got off the phone with her parents. Then on September 28th, a police officer responded to her acting suspiciously. They found her at a cemetery. So the cemetery is here to the right now. Williams Cemetery in like this little city, Williams Cemetery. So she kind of went back and forth. Then, after the cemetery on September 30th, a woodcutter saw Chelse camping in her SUV near Ash Fork, Arizona. So Ash Fork is like back towards the middle of these two places. Just kind of going back and forth. And then her parents reported her missing October 4th. And then October 5th, hunters found Chelsea's SUV abandoned in the middle of a dirt road near Ash Fork. I think it was, they said specifically Service Road 6, but I can't really find Service Road 6 on the map. That's kind of get that visual.
Abandoned. It was in the middle of a dirt road, and that was also outside Ash Fork, Arizona, where she had spoken again to that woodcutter. That was 5 days earlier. This is what's very strange. Both tires on the right side of the SUV, they were flat. Her cell phone, her wallet, clothing, and sleeping bag were not in the car. And again, this is important, neither was her pet bearded dragon, who she had gotten pretty recently. We're going to hear more about that in a second. Earlier today, I spoke with Chelsea's parents, Janet and Stephen Grimm. Here's some of that conversation. Can you talk to us a little bit about her itinerary? Was her plan to drive all the way from California to Connecticut? Was it sort of like a road trip she was looking forward to?
Actually, she was originally going to fly, but because she had recently acquired a bearded dragon as a pet, and the airlines wouldn't let her take that animal on the plane. So the day that she was supposed to fly east for this wedding, she called and said, I'm going to drive across the country. And she said, I've packed my car, I have my tent, I have my sleeping bag. I might spend a couple of nights in a hotel, I might camp. I'm going to sort of see how it goes. And 3 days later, we talked to her in between, but 3 days later, she said, I'm only as far as Arizona. I just don't think I can do this by myself, which we had tried to explain in the beginning. But she said, so I think I'm going to just skip the wedding and stay here for a couple of days and do a little camping. And then, she made it sound like she was going to head back to San Diego.
Saw the picture of the bearded dragon. Did she have an adventurous spirit? I'm just thinking like that's a long drive, and the camping was it out of the ordinary for her to sort of be spontaneous?
I'd say yes and no. She was spontaneous. She changed plans a lot. This wasn't the first time she ever changed a plan, for sure. The magnitude of this adventure, quote unquote, of driving across the country was a lot, even for Chelsea. And we said we thought that was too much. And if she wanted, we'd help her fly from Phoenix home, or, she had a friend in Phoenix that she could leave her car with. We gave her, a bunch of options. But she seemed intent on this once she had chosen it.
What made you report her missing? Like when did you start to get the feeling that something was wrong?
Well, we last talked to Chelsea on the 27th in the afternoon, and she said, I'm going to camp for a couple of days, and so I'm going to be probably where I'm not going to have cell service. And so for a couple of days, we didn't even think about it again, because she had told us she would be offline, and we knew she was in in Arizona, where there are spots where it's not particularly good for communication. So it was after a couple more days after that we started thinking, this is too long for a camping trip, and she should be back. She should be somewhere where she can get in touch. And so on the 4th of October, we reported her missing, and on the 5th, they found her car in Arizona.
He had met up with a friend in Phoenix, I believe. Have you talked to that person? Were they able to give any information about sort of her state of mind or what was going on?
Yes, actually, our other daughter talked to her at great length, and she shared a couple of emails. And she said that they gotten together, and they had a nice visit at her house. And Chelsea and she were going to brunch the next day, but the next day when it got closer to time for brunch, Chelsea said, I need to change plans. So she did with this.
I wonder what kind of search efforts they're putting out there, because it's pretty massive. There's towns and stuff, but then if you just start walking off, or you're delirious, or I don't know. And this is a case too where you've had multiple people that spotted her,
Other friends.
Multiple witnesses.
Did the friend have any information about like any reason to be concerned, or did it just seem like a normal hangout?
Yeah, not particularly. Yeah, no alarm bells or anything. I mean, she says they had a nice visit and she was looking forward to seeing her the next day. So can't really explain that any better.
No, she said she was doing a photo project, I think in a cemetery, when she interacted with that police officer. Do you know anything more about that? Was she, a photographer? Can you shed light on that a little bit?
Well, she did photography a lot, and she also did paintings, rendered art, to supplement her income, whatever her income was. And so it's not at all unusual for her to have been doing a story or a photojournalist story for some, whatever publication. So that's not unusual. Being in the cemetery is, I guess if you're doing a story on lost soldiers, that maybe that's a good place to look.
I think she also had a strong affinity to her grandfather, Janet's dad, who was a World War II veteran. And perhaps that was a draw to the veterans there.
Yeah.
Sandy in the chat says Ash Fork is not known to have great people living there. Yeah, I really want to connect with by the way, people that are wondering too, as far as Daniel Robinson, how far the location is, it's about 2.5. Is it 2.5 hours? I think, or almost 3 hours. Mo pulled it up for me earlier. While the video plays, I'll see if I can add it to the map so you can kind of tell the difference. I do want to talk about that story again, hopefully soon. And thank you in the chat. Thank you so much for the members. Bacon Mama, thank you for the 22 months. Happy to catch you live. Keep up the great work. Heaven Reigns, thank you for the 7 months. Love you, Mel. Andy T, thank you for the gifts. 5 memberships. Appreciate that. S34x4 says last seen very North Arizona by Utah border, Farmington, which is Navajo reservation. Dangerous for single female. Land there closed to non-natives. So let's show the map. People talking about the location in Utah. So Utah is above here. It's still quite a. Let's see how far it is. It's right there. The Utah border. It's still quite a bit away. Got the Grand Canyon. It seemed like she was kind of just going back and forth. I mean, she met up with this friend in Phoenix. And then it was seen by this hotel acting suspicious as described. Then at the cemetery, which we're going to take a look at that body cam. And then vehicle found here.
Have you been able to see that body camera video? I think it was on. Did anything seem out of the ordinary, or did she just, you obviously know her better than anyone. Did she seem like herself in the video?
Couldn't see much of her. We just heard her voice. That sounded like it was definitely her, in my opinion. No, it didn't seem, out of the ordinary. And one thing that seemed very in the ordinary or in character was how I think she said, "I appreciate your compassion," or something like that. That sounded 110% like Chelsea. She's a very compassionate, empathetic person, kind of an artist at heart, and that sounded just like her.
She had an interaction with a woodcutter also. Have you been able to get any more information about that?
I know the authorities have talked to him, or I believe it's a male. We don't have anything particularly noteworthy to add on that, except he thought she did not seem, in distress or in need. He actually went back some short time later to make sure she didn't want help, and she again a second time declined his help. So his conclusion was that she was in pretty good shape, not worrisome.
It sounds like the bearded dragon was important to her, obviously, if she was going to drive across the country and not fly. The bearded dragon was not found with the car. Does that make you think that she went somewhere and took the pet with her. You know, I mean, is that sort of a good sign to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Chelsea has always had special spot in her heart for children, elderly people, and animals, and she would never leave an animal in a car. She just wouldn't do it. So I think that is a hopeful sign. I also think that the chances of people recognizing Chelsea, or at least sort of connecting the dots. If they see somebody with a bearded dragon, they're going to take an extra look at that person, because it's unusual to be carrying around a bearded dragon, usually on her shoulder.
It would definitely stand out. So that's a good thing for people to look out for.
Right. She also had a very distinctive tattoo on her left arm, which was a vine with leaves on it that sort of wrapped all the way around her lower arm. So another visual clue.
And police given you any other information? I mean, is there anything else people watching?
Plattsburgh is a pretty small area. I was kind of looking. I see some people talking about it. I'm looking at an outdated census, though. This one is from, I think, 2021. 652 people. Got to be probably more now.
This should really be on the lookout for in a certain area, or are there any other tidbits that they've been able to give you?
I wish there were. There is a chance she got a ride out of there. She seemed to have left that car of her own volition in an organized way. It was locked. She had taken her wallet, and we think
that's really interesting that they're saying that. He says it seems of her own volition. I mean, maybe that's likely, because if she was forced, maybe she wouldn't have grabbed all her stuff. Maybe she wouldn't have had time, or whoever it was when it made her take her cell phone and all that stuff, unless she grabbed it without them knowing. Pretty odd.
Her phone and her sleeping bag, among other things, along with the bearded dragon. So the reason I mention that is the area of possibilities where she could be is pretty wide. It's a wide net. So, surrounding states have been notified, not just Arizona. The surrounding states, the authorities in Coconino County have been terrific in helping get the word out. And so even if you're, several hours away from there as a viewer, and you've seen something that you think might be any kind of tip, we would be forever grateful if that's
thank you, Randy, for the stars.
Time is of the essence, and so anything that leads to progress would be awesome.
Gosh, you really have to feel for those parents and what they're going through right now. And Janet and Stephen, they have hired a private investigator to help them with the search for their daughter. And Kelly Townsend joins me now on the phone. Kelly, it's a strange case. Hard to wrap my mind around. I was trying to go over all the details today and the timeline and the fact that the car was found and that she's missing with the bearded dragon. Have you been able to piece anything together yet? I mean, do you think that she is likely still in Arizona at this point?
Well, that's very difficult to tell right now. I mean, the circumstances, you're right. They are bizarre. I mean, and the body cam video of the law enforcement officer talking to her, my agency just recently been brought on. But I have an interest in, he recommended for her to go to Love's, and I'm working with the Coconino law enforcement right now and trying to find out, has anybody gone there to check out the CCTV, because if she actually followed the officer's advice and was camping there or just sleeping in her car there, did she get approached? And I know the Love's, those Love's gas stations, I guess, truck driver stations, they have places where people can sleep. Truck drivers do it all the time, showers and stuff like that. So I'm right now, we're just trying to gather as much information as we can. Coconino County Sheriff's Department has been outstanding working with us. Some law enforcement departments, they don't work with you just because you're a private investigator. But because I'm interested, because there was 2 flat tires It was out on a dirt road. How far was the body cam video where she was talked to by the police there to where the car was found? You know, I mean, because did somebody interact with her and then they drove down that road? I mean, we're all assuming at this point right now because nobody really knows for sure except God. So, you know, right. I mean, that's where we are right now. We have had some interesting things come to light just as of today. Matter of fact, just a few hours ago that we're working on that could really generate stuff that we're probably going to want to get out on the news if it comes to fruition, because we may have something that we want the world to look out for.
Yeah, I would imagine when you start asking questions and like you said, around that gas station, first of all, the thought of a young woman sleeping alone with just a bearded dragon in a gas station parking lot makes me a little nervous. Well, can you share a little more about what you've discovered in the last couple of hours, or give us
I really can't at this point. I really can't because number one, we have to verify. Number two, we have to interview. And these people literally just came up on the radar today. And so
these people just came up on the radar today.
We're trying to get interviews set up and composite sketches and things like that.
Oh.
The tidbit about her trying to use, I think it was like euros instead of dollars, and possibly being disoriented. Do you know anything more about that? Because her parents, told me, she was an artist. It wasn't odd for her to be in the pictures as part of her art project. It just seems strange to me that there was that one account that maybe she was like disoriented at one point.
Yeah, right now I can't say that I would verify that with you right now. I mean, I thought it was a little odd where she was crying, but she, the law enforcement officer walked up to her and she was crying. And he asked her, and she said it's because she just took pictures at the graveyard and she was weeping for the soldiers. I don't know. I've never personally met Chelsea, but she seems like a nice heart, very compassionate girl. But was she actually crying and just saying that to law enforcement? You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
No. Oh, did she just make that up? She was crying for something else, maybe?
An officer walked up to her and she was crying. And he asked her, and she said it's because she just took pictures at the graveyard and she was weeping for the soldiers. I don't know. I've never personally met Chelsea, but she seems like a nice heart, very compassionate girl. But was she actually crying and just saying that to law enforcement? You follow what I'm saying?
Right. Or perhaps she was moved by the art project she was working on. We'll stay in touch with you, Kelly. We want to stay on this story, and I'm glad that you're involved and assisting the family. I know you just came on. I think it is. Yeah, I feel for those parents. I just want to put out the phone number. Anyone with information, perhaps she was moved, is 928-7. Or anyone with information, you can contact the sheriff's office there. The number is 928-774-4523. Hopefully, we will have some good news to report sometime this.
Okay. So I want to see some of the body cam too. It's kind of mixed in with their family interviews.
I'm trying to do a series on the lost and the forgotten people in this country.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Now missing herself. This body camera video is one of the last known sightings of Chelse Grimm, a California woman who vanished.
Not very well. As every day goes by, it's harder and harder to stay positive and upbeat, and we try to keep focused on the end goal, which is to bring Chelsea home safely.
What started as a cross-country road trip quickly turned into a parent's worst nightmare when 32-year-old Chelse Grimm went missing without a trace. Her parents now left with more questions than answers in their desperate search for their daughter.
It's a nightmare, and it's one that you never could have imagined yourself in and wouldn't wish on anybody. But having said that, we're hanging in there. We're holding on to hope, putting our faith in the law enforcement professionals.
Grimm was last seen on September 30th in Ash Fork, Arizona, about 50 minutes west of Flagstaff. Just days before, she'd set off on a cross-country road trip, leaving San Diego headed to Connecticut for a family member's wedding. Grimm's mother, Janet Grimm, says just before she was set to fly out east, her daughter made a last-minute change of plans.
Chelsea was going to fly home for a wedding in Connecticut, well, New York. She was flying home to go to this wedding and see us. And the day she was supposed to get on the airplane, she emailed Steve and said that she was going to drive across country instead.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so that was on the 24th of September.
Chelsea's father, Stephen Grimm, says it wasn't surprising his daughter made this last-minute change.
I would say it's not at all out of character for her to change plans at the last minute. That was a characteristic of her. She had adopted this dragon lizard. Bearded dragon. She had adopted a bearded dragon and said she didn't want to come without it, and she couldn't bring it on the plane. So that ostensibly was the reason that she gave us.
Alone, traveling only with her bearded dragon, Grimm set off toward the East Coast. But several days into her trip, she told her parents she wouldn't make it in time for the wedding. That conversation and update was the last time her parents heard from her.
The last contact, we were texting back and forth with her, and she said, I've driven for 3 days. I'm in Arizona. I'm not going to make it to the East Coast for the wedding. I think I'm going to just skip the wedding and stop here for a day or two and do some camping.
That's a long drive, too, huh?
Camping. She had her tent and her sleeping bag with her in the car when she left. And then radio silence. And she had told us she was going to probably be out of fun range for a couple of days. So a couple of days, we weren't alarmed. But then when 2 or 3 more days went by, and we usually texted or talked to her daily. So when a couple of days went by and we hadn't heard from her, we got really worried. So we called it in as a missing persons report on the 4th of October.
Investigators confirmed one of her last encounters was with law enforcement on the 28th. Body camera video shows an officer approach Chelsea's vehicle outside of a cemetery.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I just was doing a photo shoot of the lost soldiers and got a little emotional, so I was crying before I got back on the road.
Chelsea can be heard telling the officer she's a bit emotional after working on a photo shoot about fallen soldiers.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure someone called it in. So
I'm sorry.
No, you're quite all right. I mean,
I was just doing a photo shoot, yeah. Packed up. I'm going to leave soon.
Okay.
But I just didn't want to drive like that. Sad.
I got you. You've been smoking a little bit of marijuana?
Earlier today, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have your license on you by any chance?
Yeah.
It gets me all emotional too.
Yeah, it's just, I'm trying to do a series on the lost and the forgotten people in this country.
She later discusses where to stay while she's on the road before parting ways with the officer.
I know you told me that you smoked marijuana and you're kind of, well, obviously I would be in an emotional state as well. I don't know if you want somebody else to drive you or if you just want to hang out here for a little bit longer, you're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, if it's okay with you, if I hang out here for another 15 or 20 and then head on the road, that would be my plan, sure. I think.
Yeah, I don't see any signs of impairment or anything like that, so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they would have taken my ass in. No, this is interesting to see.
With my eyesight and then crying, it's not the best combination at night.
I totally
I was like,
understand.
I'm just gonna cry on the road, or I'm just gonna sit here and cry. So I
got
have my dragon, and I'm just.
Oh, that's freaking cool! I didn't even notice that.
Thanks, Rosie.
Wow, Rosie,
I think she's asleep.
Wow, right on.
She got bored.
Yeah. Do you have a hotel around here or anything?
I don't. I was actually thinking of just camping for the night, but I wasn't really sure exactly yet.
Gotcha. Well,
I didn't plan to be here till sunset.
Okay. You can't camp in the city limits. It's kind of like a city statute we have.
Okay, good.
But you can always go. I don't know if you can see the yellow lights over there, the Loves. It's a trucker stop in the gas station here. You can just sleep there. Nobody will bother you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yes.
I get some good shots at sunrise too there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sunrise here too. If you ever want to take photo shoots of like the statues in the morning, dude, it's really cool because the sun's like rises right behind them.
Amazing. Okay, I'll probably stay at the truck stop then, save some money, and then come over for the sunrise.
You got it.
Cool.
All right. Well, you have a great time.
Well, she was very into photography, and she had done some articles and some.
So that Love's truck stop. Very interesting. That Love's truck spot. Okay, so just again to ground ourselves a little bit. From San Diego to Phoenix to meet her friend. Then from there, she's seen at this hotel in Seligman. Then the police officer spots her. I'm jumping over some stuff a little bit, but just what's on the map. Then she's spotted by this officer at the cemetery, and he recommends, there's this Love's travel spot. Yeah, this is Love's travel stop. Yeah, it's like a truck stop, I guess. Love's truck care. Yeah. Truck repair shop. So I don't know. Did she actually make it to that truck stop? And then her vehicle was found in Ashford back here. So I'm sure they already probably have. I don't know if they have cameras over there. Maybe they're pulling up cameras. Did she make it to the truck stop?
Photography in San Diego as part of the way she was supporting herself. And so to hear that she was doing a story on lost veterans is not unusual. I don't know the circumstances under which she was taking pictures in a graveyard at night. So I really don't make anything of it because it would be just speculation.
The last known sighting of Grimm was 2 days later on September 30th in Ash Fork, Arizona, about 20 miles away from Williams. A woodcutter there saw her camping in her car and asked if she was okay. Grimm said she was doing fine, but she hasn't been heard from since. Her parents say it was normal for their daughter to camp alone.
She has had a lot of training in camping, and it's something that she has done in the past. She hasn't done it recently since she's moved to San Diego, but actually she had done it in August. She had gone camping in August, but up until then, I wouldn't really characterize her as an outdoor girl, a wilderness kind of person, but she certainly had the skills to do that.
Prior to her disappearance, Grimm's parents say she went through a breakup and that her mental state was off.
I would say yes, but I also think it's fair to say she didn't seem completely even. She seemed pretty uneven that last day or two.
What do you mean by uneven? Could you give me more about that?
Just that she was, she had a lot on her mind that she was expressing through texts that she was speaking into her phone as she was traveling, and she was upset with a boy she was dating.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, because somebody had mentioned something about dating or something like that. It's interesting to see this interview with the Law and Crime because they kind of go a little bit more in detail about her feeling or seeming uneven. By the way, this is the tattoo that's been described. There's still a couple things we got to talk about because we got to talk about this whole GoFundMe thing too. There was already some GoFundMe drama, believe it or not, or maybe you probably do believe it if you've been following all these stories for a while now, right? There's a tattoo on her hand, and I'm just going to rewind it back for a second to see what the parents were saying again.
Traveling, and she was upset with a boy she was dating.
A boy she was dating.
Was scared of him. We feel like she was running away from him. And I think overall, that was affecting a lot of her mindset. They had broken up, and, he had posted things on social media, etc. So they're very well aware of him. But as to Chelsea's state of mind, I think it was affected by him and their breakup or the way they departed.
But Stephen Grimm says he doesn't believe his daughter would hurt herself.
It's not inconceivable, but we really don't think that was her state of mind when you look at what she was saying to us and that sort of thing. You know, it's not impossible. It has not been ruled out, but you know, they've done a very, very thorough search of a 3-mile radius around where the car was found. And so one would think that if he had come to the worst, we would have found some evidence of that by now. There have been hunters, loggers, there have been the search parties, etc. So, you know, our hunch, our gut is that, you know, maybe she got a ride out of there. That's what we're kind of hoping.
One day after Grimm was reported missing on October 5th, hunters in the Kaibab National Forest came across her vehicle, a 2019 Ford Escape with 2 flat tires. It had been parked on a service road in the forest. Inside the vehicle, investigators found Grimm's camera with the most recent photos she'd taken. They've since released the pictures showing the outfit she was last seen in.
The car was locked. It was neat, so there were no visual signs of a struggle. And it's possible that she just decided that she was going to proceed with her camping. She couldn't do anything right then and there about the car, so she perhaps was just going to continue on the idea of camping. She has a AAA card on our family plan, so we had told her when she started driving across the country, if you encounter any car problems, use AAA, get towed, and tell us what the situation is. Keep us apprised of your whereabouts. So that if she didn't call AAA, it's because she either didn't have service or her phone wasn't working. And she hasn't. Her phone has not been used since the 28th or 9th. So it's either lost, broken, not charged. I don't know. But normally you would be using something like that to call for help.
Investigators combed through the area where her vehicle was found both by land and air. During all searches, investigators came up empty.
They had mentioned on a call we had with them Friday that they had 500 man-hours in the field looking for her. They've been very scientific, technology being used with mapping, etc. So I feel like we've got real professionals who are really trying the very best to find her, and we're grateful for that. And yet there are not that many new clues, so understandably it goes to a slightly different level of immediacy for them. And it just seemed to us like it couldn't hurt to hire Kelly Townsend, who we hired. He specializes in missing persons, so maybe there's something he can do to supplement them. We're not experts in this field. We're totally inexperienced.
The Grimm family has since acquired a private investigator they hope will move the case forward.
Presumably the sheriff's office has a lot of other things going on simultaneously. And I think after 2 weeks of extensive searching for Chelsea, they're sort of waiting for more public information, waiting for more clues, because they followed up everything that they really had to look into. And I think that they've done a thorough job doing that.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's a good idea that they got a private investigator. I wanted to show you, and I just want to say thank you, Biel and Chaos and Mo, for the information sent over to me. Appreciate you guys. So this is Chelsea's Instagram account. I believe it's this one. Last video around the time she left for Arizona. Yes. So let me show you guys full screen. So what we saw there, believe that missing person flyers. So she goes missing, takes a picture of missing persons flyers, missing children. Put that music on the call problem. Okay, so she's fully packed. Almost looks like there's the lizard. Take a look back at this video again. She's at a truck place. Highway construction. Live Oak. What this is? Live Oak towards Manzita Parkway. 3 weeks ago. Bible study. And the Lord said to me, do not fear him, for I have delivered him and all his people and his land into your hand. You shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dealt at Heshbon. Bible study was quick this morning, but also we're affirming off to Arizona to see my girlie. To go see her friend. Music. King OG defeated. Now the other thing, the drama with some sort of GoFundMe. Okay, so this is Chelsea's, I believe, sister. Yes, sister's page. And she said, update 10/17, 9 a.m. My sister Chelsea is still missing. If you have any information, call this phone number, 928-774-4523. Mention report number. Do not donate to any GoFundMe pages. They're fraudulent. The one we know is of her abusive ex, Philip John Brenner, a.k.a. PJ, who is claiming to be her fiance. I don't know. I guess this is this guy. I don't know if it's this guy. Please read. I'm not exploiting anyone for financial gain. I was simply helping someone who claimed it may or may not be the fiance. Oh, this must be somebody else. A missing woman, Chelsea Grimm. Please DM me if you would like to talk personally or join the search efforts. I'm solo currently after parting ways with said man. Oh, so he was with the other guy, I guess? The police are on their way to pick me up and give me courtesy ride to continue the effort.
Honestly, a public apology for some of the posts with PJ there that claimed to be fiance with said missing person, Chelsea Grimm. I am not trying to exploit anybody. Even the local authorities know who I am and what I'm actually doing here. I parted ways with that person. They're obviously having some mental health issues and stuff. No need. I will take down any GoFundMe.
So what's the boyfriend slash fiance? One we know of is her abusive ex, Philip John Brenner, a.k.a. PJ, who's claiming to be her fiance. So he supposedly made a page.
Stuff or anything where we're mutually involved. I'm going to continue my search. I'm actually part of a civilian force called the Cajun Navy and Army that started during Katrina and every other major disaster. We all get together and pool resources and get people to.
So this is the guy that got dragged into it by PJ. Okay, that's the guy that PJ dragged into the fake GoFundMe. Okay.
Together to search and rescue people and animals and get people safe in national disasters. You can verify any of this information with me. You can contact local authorities in Williams. They know my name. They know what I've been doing. My videos aren't fake. I mean, I have people out there with ATVs, hunters and stuff helping us out. Please, apologies. I'm a kind-hearted, beautiful person. All I wanted to do was share something to help save that person. Thank you very much, and please comment and share. Hi there, everybody. This is honestly a public apology for some of the posts with PJ there that claimed to be fiance with said missing person, Chelse Grimm. I am not trying to exploit anybody. Even the local authorities know who I am and what I'm at.
Yeah, so this guy PJ's inserted himself. God bless all that are helping with the search. And a very special thank you to Kathy and Jimmo for putting us up in the hotel here in Williams and joining the search party in the morning and then their vacation and 12th anniversary. God bless them. Boots on the ground, another Army Ranger and Jeep joining the mission. So they got people out there.
Hi there, everybody.
Saw that. A remote base camp for the safe return of Chelsea Grimm. Last night, Ray and I gathered some information we think will be very helpful for the case. Okay, so they're out there. All right. Let me see. Oh, there was some other things. This other bit here. BL sent me these screenshots. This was under the police post. Somebody here said we saw her while out scouting on the 29th on the 124 road west of Williams around 6:15 a.m. The first selfie pic is the location we seen her in. She was walking towards Johnson Canyon, calling in to give more details. And then there's another one here, another supposed sighting. Me and my grandson seen that vehicle on the 4 Service Road 6, headed west on September 30th at about 6 a.m. No one was around it. Somebody asked, was the car still running and were the tires flat? Do you remember exactly where? It wasn't running. Tires were good. Oh. I called it into the detective, and the detective never called me back, so I posted what and where it was. And there was a 4-hour span. It wasn't there 4 hours later. Wait, what? I called it in, and the detective never called me back, so I posted what and where it was, and there was a 4-hour span. It wasn't there 4 hours later. It was there and went by, and it went by it on the way back to William. It was still there. This is the official post on Facebook. You were saying she looked like she'd been crying. The vehicle, the lizard. So, all right, that's it. I just wanted to kind of touch on that story. And get your guys' thoughts on that. Brilliant Viper says, sent you a tweet. It's a link to a Reddit post. One of Chelsea's friends. If you go into recent one, she talks about PJ. All right, awesome. Take a look at that. Thank you, Viper. Nice. Trying to find the friend's post. There we go. So it doesn't say it's, it's not like a verified post, but we'll read it and see. Hi, I'm a friend of Chelsea as well. Maybe there was another one that posted on there. I went to Monarch with her from 2005 to 2007. I have pieced together a lot of information from her friends in San Diego about her life there. I'm glad to find that you seem to have more information about the wedding. Do you know when this wedding was? I'm still trying to figure out who she met with in Phoenix and what made her account for seemingly meandering in the Phoenix area from 9/25, her last known sighting on 9/30. Was there enough time leading up to the wedding for her to have been on a leisurely trip? It seems to me that she was perhaps in a manic episode. She displayed a myriad of concerning behaviors in the days leading up to her departure from San Diego, as well as on special media during that time. And of course, once she got to Arizona, she'd recently started pouring through the Bible, which we saw all that stuff in the Bible, all these things like, marked off and sectioned off, and all these writings in her Bible, which was unlike her. She became suddenly enthralled in it, which to me seems like a sign of mania. She also was confused and disoriented in Arizona, as you know, which also is telling. Sorry for rambling. I'm just trying to make sense of this situation. I'd like to connect with you. Maybe we can piece things together and create a clearer picture. Okay, so there's a couple of posts here. Hi, lady. Thank you so much for this comment. To be honest, I'm in a similar position, playing catch up and trying to piece together information. Chelsea and I went to college together in 2010 and have been friends ever since. I've been in contact with some of her friends and still trying to piece things together myself. Chelsea had told me in early September 5th, that she would be in NYC at September 24th through the 26th and back in the city October 1st. She stated that she intended flying out, that her parents are going to help her fly back to California from NYC. My guess is that the wedding was September 29th through the 30th, and that the original plan was for Chelsea to fly back on October 2nd. Obviously, at some point, plans changed and Chelsea decided to drive back instead of flying. Not sure why, as she mentioned, having money trouble and driving is certainly more expensive. I also noticed the alarming social media post and was concerned. She called me one night and I was about to pass out. As I live on the East Coast, we could only talk for a few minutes, but she seemed sad. Once I heard about this, I became increasingly concerned because I felt like she has been in a vulnerable place and could easily be manipulated or coerced. Feel free to DM me. Okay. Is that the post you were talking about, or is there somebody else? This is according to somebody's post. Again, just take this with a grain of salt. Somebody posted this on this person here, Tommy, posted, I think on Facebook, this website's quoting it. I know this girl very well, and I'm hopeful that she is okay, but I'm not very confident that she is. I know the people she was hanging out with, and they're very bad news, meth addict. She's a good person that got mixed with the wrong crowd under crappy circumstances. I truly hope she's okay, but something seems off. From my knowledge, this person, PJ, is an ex, not a good person from what I've heard. The family does not condone or support GoFundMe for Chelsea. This GoFundMe is not set up to support family or search efforts. Do not donate. Anyone know PJ? He and another guy have been posting videos. They are at the ground search area asking for $30,000 on a GoFundMe. The other guy, Elias, is no longer with PJ and stating that he doesn't know him. He's a friend of mine. I have thought, but my body is looking at the fiance dude. Timeline. Yes, she does. Okay. So I just found out. Is this the OP? Okay, it's right here. I just found out as I was getting off of work, so I'm gathering information from family members. But as far as I know, she stopped to camp in Arizona on a road trip and hasn't been heard from since. Police do not suspect foul play, but I can't help but think something is seriously wrong. I'm honestly devastated and feeling helpless. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm not able to look. Spreading the word is pretty much all I can do. Edit, one source said they do not suspect foul play. Another said it hasn't been ruled out. Obviously, we're all hoping she's okay. Somebody asked, does she have any kind of mental health history? This person said, yes, she does. I know she struggles with depression and anxiety. Beyond that, I wouldn't want to go into detail because I can't be certain what she may have been diagnosed with. Having said that, this is not unusual behavior whatsoever. Has Chelsea's pet bearded dragon been found? To our knowledge, she took her pet with her. Chelse used to go camping, has some survival skills for sure, but it seems unlikely she'd go without any communication for this long. Okay. All right. All right, well, I'm going to head out for now, guys. I am going to be back later at what time? Let's see. 4 p.m. 4 p.m. We're going to watch the second half of the Bodycam that we started watching yesterday. Okay, so we're going to do that later today. Any updates with the story, I'll let you know when it comes, as it comes. Make sure you also subscribe to the second channel, because in case I'm out of notifications or I need to post something quick, I'll do it on that channel, okay? And SF Investigates said he's heading out there to search Arizona. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure I got everybody here too. Sharon Lewis, thank you for the 9-month membership. SW4x4 says, Arizona wants to go look for her. Message me on Discord. Okay. Canadian Grandma, thank you for the membership. All right. Catch you guys later. Bye.